So ein Spielzeug wie weiß doch nicht. Hitler.
Dein Sohn! Dein Sohn!
Ich weiß, was ich sehe, okay?
I'm coming!
Sarah, a former elite German Special Forces operative, now lives a quiet life with her young son Josh. After losing her soldier husband in a blast and struggling with PTSD, one traumatic flashback even caused her to attack a stranger during a panic episode. For 2 years, she trained relentlessly, trying to stay grounded while grieving. Eventually, she decided to start fresh in the U.S., hoping to leave the past behind. At the airport, she got a call from an old military friend claiming her last mission, the one that killed her husband, might have been a setup. But with no proof, Sarah let it go. Soon after arriving in America, Sarah visited the embassy to handle her immigration paperwork. The place was packed. While waiting, Josh grew restless, so she took him to a nearby playroom and left him there briefly to rejoin the line. 20 minutes passed, and the line barely moved. Sarah stepped out to check on Josh, but froze when she brushed past a curly-haired man who instantly raised red flags. When she reached the playroom, Josh was gone. Panicked, she searched everywhere and alerted security. Eric, the embassy's head of security, stepped in and promised to help. Guards were dispatched across the building. After 30 minutes with no leads, Sarah mentioned the curly-haired man. Eric quickly had his deputy, Donovan, pull visitor logs and camera footage. But the footage shocked them all. It showed Sarah entering the embassy alone. No sign of Josh. Sarah insisted her son was with her. Tension flared between her and Donovan until Eric calmed the situation. But something had shifted. The mission to find Josh had just turned into a fight against something far bigger. This was no longer just a kidnapping. This was exterritorial. Out of options, Sarah called her mother for help. But instead of support, her mother urged her to take her meds, implying the trauma was all in her head.
Calm down, please!
Feeling abandoned, Sarah decided to act alone. She slipped out of Eric's office, climbed through a window, and dropped into a hidden level of the embassy. She disabled the security cameras and reached a locked room. As she tried to break in, a woman inside attacked her. Sarah quickly overpowered her and calmed her down. The woman introduced herself as Kira. She claimed she'd been locked up for 2 months with no explanation. When asked why Sarah was there, she said she was searching for her missing son, Josh. Kira agreed to help, but only if Sarah helped her escape too. They made a deal.
Fuck. Hast du ihn umgebracht? Warum? Du bist ja voll die krasse Kampfmaschine.
After taking down a guard together, they pushed forward toward a nearby warehouse, hoping to find clues. Along the way, Sarah fought through flashes of her trauma, staying focused on one goal, finding her son. At the warehouse, Josh was nowhere to be found. Determined, Sarah checked the control room and discovered vehicle log. No cars had left in the last 2 hours. Josh had to still be inside. She then spotted a locker marked with a large G, matching the logo on the curly-haired man's shirt. Inside, she found a bag filled with smuggled goods. It all clicked that Josh's disappearance was a distraction to sneak in contraband. Sarah and Kira hid in a nearby room to regroup. But Kira started to panic, begging Sarah to help her escape immediately. Tensions rose. They argued. In the middle of it, Sarah found a flash drive hidden in Kira's pocket. Before Kira could explain, two guards burst in. Sarah fought back and took them down. Demanding answers, Sarah pushed Kira for the truth. Kira finally revealed she was the daughter of a powerful politician, and the flash drive held sensitive intel. But before she could go further, Eric and Donovan stormed in. One hit knocked Sarah out cold. While unconscious, Sarah dreamed of her late husband. When she woke, Detective Deborah was standing over her, with Eric nearby. He showed her security footage again, claiming she entered the embassy alone. No Josh. Eric calmly suggested Josh was just a figment of her trauma. Deborah tried to comfort her and said a psychiatrist was on the way. After they left, a woman in a hat slipped in and freed Sarah. It was Kira. She believed Josh was real, even as Sarah started to question her own sanity. Was Josh real? Was Kira? To prove herself, Kira told the full story. She was Russian, the daughter of a high-ranking politician murdered by a secret group. The flash drive held the evidence, and Eric had locked her up to get it. Sarah began to trust her. Then Kira grabbed scissors and threatened to harm herself. Sarah stopped her, finally convinced she was real. They escaped through a window and regrouped. Sarah remembered the curly-haired man's locker. She retrieved his contraband bag, and together they moved on, avoiding cameras and tracking him down. After a long search, Sarah found the curly-haired man eating in the cafeteria. She confronted him, said she had his smuggled bag, and demanded he return her son. The man looked confused. He swore he didn't kidnap anyone, claimed he was just a tech guy who smuggled on the side. Sarah realized he was telling the truth. Still, she made a deal that he could have his bag back if he shut down the security cameras. He agreed and blacked out the feeds. Soon after, Sarah spotted Eric having lunch with his daughter. When staff rushed in about the camera outage, he left in a hurry. His daughter accidentally left her phone behind. Sarah grabbed it. Later, in a restroom, the tech guy gave them an access card. Sarah returned his bag.
I'll have to explain how you got my card.
It's gonna look like you put up a fierce fight.
With the card, she and Kira got into Donovan's office and hacked his files. What they found shocked Sarah. There was a full profile on her, including her combat history and mental health. But worse, they uncovered proof Eric had been leaking intel to terrorists. That betrayal explained everything. Eric had set her team up. He wanted her gone because she was the last one who knew the truth. Now Sarah was sure of two things. Josh was real, and Eric had taken him to cover his tracks. Right then, Donovan suddenly burst in, forcing Sarah into a fierce fight. She and Kira escaped, racing to find Detective Deborah and expose Eric's crimes. Donovan alerted Eric that Sarah had accessed his files. Panicked, Eric ordered him to track her down and end it. Sarah and Kira reached a warehouse. With workers nearby, Sarah told Kira to leave. She had to stay and find Josh. Kira hesitated, scared to go alone. But Sarah convinced her it was the only way to survive. They promised to reunite once it was over. Kira slipped into a delivery truck and escaped.
Hey! I said don't move! Get out of the car, now!
Sarah then created a diversion to draw guards away and slipped back inside. One by one, she took down guards until she finally confronted Eric. They clashed in a brutal fight.
Wo ist Josh? Haben Sie ihn?
Sarah overpowered him, pinned him, and demanded to know where Josh was. Eric refused to talk, mocking her sanity. Enraged, Sarah knocked him out. She planted an explosive to cause more chaos, then climbed to the rooftop to regroup. 10 minutes later, Eric came to, helped up by Donovan. He immediately called the military, lying that Sarah had lost her mind and was a threat. Troops were deployed with orders to capture her. As soldiers began clearing civilians, Sarah stayed ahead. She approached Eric's daughter, claiming he sent her to escort the girl to safety. The child followed her without hesitation. Sarah led her into a secure, high-tech room that could only be controlled from inside. Once locked in, she called Eric and told him she had his daughter. If he wanted her back, he had to return Josh. Eric panicked. He rushed to the room with armed guards. When he arrived, Sarah spoke through the intercom. Eric pretended all was fine in front of his daughter, trying to stay calm. Detective Deborah showed up and tried to de-escalate. Sarah switched to German and told her everything. Eric kidnapped Josh and had once leaked intel to terrorists. But because of Sarah's mental history, Deborah hesitated to believe her. Pushed to the edge, Sarah threatened to cut off the oxygen. Minutes passed in silence before guilt hit. The girl was innocent. Sarah restored the air and called Eric again. She'd release the child, but only if he came in alone. With no other option, Eric agreed. He stepped inside. Instead of attacking, Sarah asked him why. Eric finally came clean that he admitted he wanted her dead to protect himself. She was the last one who knew the truth. He confessed to taking Josh and faking the footage to discredit her. Suddenly, Eric pulled a gun and shot Sarah. Then he turned the weapon on himself, fired into his own leg, and stumbled out screaming that Sarah attacked him. Soldiers outside prepped explosives, ready to breach the room. But Sarah wasn't done. Bleeding and barely standing, she used Eric's daughter's phone. It had recorded his full confession. She played it over the building speakers for everyone to hear, soldiers, staff, and Detective Deborah. The truth was out. Deborah ordered Eric's arrest. Soldiers moved fast and cuffed him. Minutes later, Sarah emerged, wounded but alive. Medics rushed in. After a full sweep, military teams found Josh, hidden in a secret room the entire time. Later, Sarah woke up in a hospital bed. Josh was right beside her, safe and unharmed. After everything, mother and son were finally reunited, and the nightmare was over. So the moral of the story is, if you ever think your kid got kidnapped inside an embassy, double-check if he's actually with you, because there's a small chance it might just be your brain pulling a prank, and you'll accidentally start an international incident over absolutely nothing.